Texas is a very large state in the United States. For land size, Texas is the second largest state. Alaska is the first. Alaska is much bigger than Texas. People in Alaska sometimes make a joke that if Alaska was cut in half, Texas would only be the third largest state. For the number of people, Texas is also second. California has the most people. In 2020, California had about 10 million more people than Texas. When we look at how big the economy is, Texas is also second. California has the biggest economy. So Texas is usually second in size, people, and economy. Alaska is first for land, and California is first for people and economy. But things are changing. The difference in land size between Texas and Alaska will always be big. But the difference in the number of people and the size of the economy between Texas and California is getting smaller. Texas has been growing very fast for more than 20 years. It is growing much faster than California. Texas has been moving up the list of states by population for a long time. Back in 1960, Texas was the sixth most populated state. Many years ago, New York was the state with the most people for a long time. But people started moving to states in the West and South, like California, Texas, and Florida. In 1970, California became the state with the most people. It passed New York. California was number one for many years after that. Texas also kept growing. It passed other states in population. In 2000, Texas became the second state with the most people. It passed New York. For the last 20 years, California has been number one and Texas has been number two for population. But Texas is growing much faster than California. In 2000, California had about 13 million more people than Texas. By 2020, this difference was only about 10.4 million people. After 2020, Texas kept growing fast. California's population even went down a little for the first time. This made the gap between the two states even smaller. Very quickly. Now the difference is less than 8 million people. Some people think Texas might have more people than California in the future, maybe by the 2040s. This growth is not just in people. Texas's economy is also getting bigger very fast. This story will look at how Texas grew so much. We will learn about its population growth, its strong economy, why people move there, and its important energy industry. We will see how Texas is becoming a very powerful state in America. The current president of the U.S. is Donald Trump, and it is real. 2. More people come to Texas. Texas's population is growing faster than California's. This growth is not new. For many years, Texas has been climbing in the list of U.S. states by how many people live there. Long ago, in 1960, Texas was the sixth largest state by population. States like New York and California had more people. Over time, people moved west and south. California became the state with the most people in 1970, passing New York. Texas kept growing too. It passed states like Ohio, Illinois, and Pennsylvania. In 2000, Texas became the second state to pass New York in population. Since then, California and Texas have been number 1 and 2. But Texas has been growing faster than California for over 20 years. In 2000, California had around 13 million more people than Texas. By 2020, California had added about 5.6 million people. Texas, in the same years, added about 8.25 million people. This made the difference smaller. After 2020, something important happened. For the first time, California started to lose people. Between April 2020 and July 2022, California's population went down by about 500,000 people. More people left California than moved in. Because of this, California lost 1 seat in the U.S. House of Representatives, which is based on population. During the same time, Texas gained many people. Its population grew by about 840,000. This big increase helped Texas gain 2 new seats in the House of Representatives. Now, in 2023, the difference in population between California and Texas is less than 8 million people. If this trend continues, Texas might have more people than California in the 2040s. People are moving to many places in Texas. Big cities are growing fast. Dallas-Fort Worth in North Texas has added nearly 1.5 million people since 2010. It is now the 4th largest big city area in the U.S. Houston, San Antonio, and Austin are also seeing millions more people. These cities form a large area called the Texas Triangle. This area is smaller than a quarter of Texas's land, but about 3 out of every 4 Texans live there. It holds over 22 million people. This growth shows how Texas is changing. Three, a strong Texas economy. The Texas economy is showing very fast growth. From 2010 to 2021, the economy grew by 39%. During the same years, the number of people grew by 18%. This shows the economy is expanding much faster than the population. This growth rate was also about 1.5 times quicker than the average growth rate for the entire United States during that time. Today, in 2023, the size of the Texas economy is huge. It is measured by something called Gross Domestic Product, or GDP. Texas's GDP is about 2.35 trillion US dollars. This is a very large number. To understand how big it is, imagine if Texas was an independent country. In that case, its economy would be the 8th largest economy in the world. This means Texas's economy is bigger than many well-known countries, like Italy and Canada. However, for now, it is still smaller than California's economy, which is the largest in the United States. Texas is a leader in the United States when it comes to sending products to other countries, which are called exports. In 2022, Texas exported goods worth a lot of money, about $486 billion. This amount was about 1/4 of all the exports from the 50 United States combined. It was even more than the total exports from California and New York put together. This shows Texas's big role in international trade. Many large companies are deciding to move their main offices, called headquarters, to Texas. This has happened a lot in the last few years. Since the beginning of 2020, around 140 major companies have moved their headquarters to the state. A significant number of these companies, more than 40%, moved from California. This trend includes some very famous names. For example, Oracle and Tesla moved their main offices from California to the city of Austin in Texas. Charles Schwab, a large finance company, moved its headquarters from California to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise also moved from California to Houston. Caterpillar, a big machine company, moved from Illinois to Dallas-Fort Worth. And McLaren North America moved from New York to Dallas-Fort Worth as well. Besides companies moving their main homes, other big companies are also building larger offices in Texas. Apple is building a new large campus in Austin that will be its second biggest office anywhere in the world. Google and Meta have made their offices in downtown Austin much larger. Goldman Sachs, a major bank, announced it will build its second largest office in downtown Dallas. All these companies coming to Texas and growing their offices create many new jobs for people. Because of these moves and expansions, Texas has been responsible for about 35% of all the new jobs created in the United States since February 2020. Companies choose Texas for different reasons, and one big reason is that it is often more affordable to do business here compared to other states, especially those on the coasts. This strong economy and the large number of jobs attract many people and businesses. 4. Why Texas is a good place. Texas is a state that many people like to move to. There are several important reasons why Texas is seen as a good place to live and work. First, let's think about where Texas is. It has a great location in the middle of the United States. This is good for travel. From Texas, it is easy to fly to places on the East Coast or the West Coast of the U.S. It is also easy to fly south to countries in Latin America. This central place helps people and businesses. Texas also has very large airports that make travel simple. Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, often called DFW, is one of the biggest and busiest airports in the world. Many flights leave DFW every day, going to almost 200 places in the U.S. and many cities around the world, like in Europe or Asia. American Airlines, a very big airline, has its main base here. Another big airport nearby is Dallas Love Field. It is the main airport for Southwest Airlines, which flies to many U.S. cities. Having these large airports makes it easy to connect Texas to other places. Money is another big reason why people choose Texas. One important thing is that people in Texas do not pay a state income tax. This is different from many other states, like California or New York, where a part of your salary goes to the state government. In Texas, you keep more of the money you earn from your job. Also, the cost of houses is often lower in Texas. Finding a home to buy can be much less expensive than in states on the coasts. For example, in cities like Houston and Fort Worth, the price of a house can be 4 times less than in San Francisco. Even in Dallas, houses are usually cheaper than in California's large cities. Austin, a growing city in Texas, is becoming more expensive, but homes there can still cost less than in Los Angeles. Speaking of Austin, this city is a good example of growth. Many technology companies from other states are opening offices or moving their main buildings to Austin. This brings many new, high-paying jobs. But as more people come for these jobs, the demand for houses goes up quickly. So while Austin offers great job chances, the price of living there is rising fast. The cost of a home in Austin today is much higher than it was just 10 or 13 years ago. Even with some places getting more expensive, Texas still offers a good price for living compared to other large states. The mix of a good location, easy travel, no state income tax, and generally lower housing costs, along with growing job markets, makes Texas a place many people want to live and work. 5. Texas and its oil story. Texas has a long history with oil. This story starts in 1901. In that year, oil was found in a town called Beaumont in East Texas. This place was named Spindletop. It was the biggest oil field found in the world at that time. This discovery changed Texas forever. Finding oil at Spindletop started a big search for oil across Texas. More large oil fields were found in other parts of the state. In the 1920s, a very big oil field was found in West Texas. This area is now known as the Permian Basin. In less than 50 years after the first find in 1901, Texas became the main place for oil in America. The United States became the world's biggest oil producer thanks a lot to Texas. Before oil, Texas was mostly farms and rural areas. But oil brought many changes. Cities grew fast as millions of people came to find work and make money. In only 30 years after the first oil find, the state's population doubled. By the end of World War II, Texas had changed from a rural state to one with many industries and large cities. The oil industry became the most important part of its economy. Texas oil was very important during World War II. The United States provided almost 6 out of every 7 barrels of oil used by the countries fighting against the Axis powers. Texas provided the largest part of this oil. This helped the Allies a lot. After the war, America used more and more oil. People bought more cars and moved to new homes away from cities. The demand for oil in the country soon became higher than America's own production. In 1946, oil came from the Middle East for the first time to help meet the need. By 1948, America was buying more oil from other countries than it produced itself. The country depended more on oil from outside sources. This dependence caused problems later. In the 1970s, America was buying a lot of oil from countries in the Middle East. By 1972, 83% of America's oil imports came from these countries. In 1973, some oil-producing countries stopped selling oil to the United States and its friends. This was because of a war in the Middle East. This situation was called the oil embargo. The price of gasoline went up very fast, more than 4 times higher. People waited in long lines at gas stations. This showed that America's economy was weak because it depended on oil from other countries. President Richard Nixon said America needed to produce its own energy and not depend on others. It would take a long time to do this. Meanwhile, oil production in Texas, even in the big Permian Basin, started to go down after its peak in 1974. 6. New ways to get oil. It seemed like the old oil fields in Texas were running out of oil. For many years, the amount of oil Texas produced went down. People thought the time when Texas was a giant in oil production was ending. For example, one very important oil area in West Texas, called the Permian Basin, produced less oil as years passed, especially by the early 2000s. At that time, many people believed the United States would always have to buy a large part of its oil from other countries. But things changed because of a new idea, a new technology that began in Texas. Engineers and scientists found a clever way to get oil and natural gas that was stuck in a different kind of rock deep underground. This rock is called shale. It is very hard for oil and gas to flow out of shale rock on its own. The new technology is called fracking. It combines two steps. First, they drill a well far down into the earth. But instead of just drilling straight down, they turn the drill bit and drill sideways for a long distance, sometimes more than a mile. This is called horizontal drilling. This lets the well reach much more of the shale rock layer. Second, after drilling sideways, they pump a mix of water, sand, and a few other things into the well at very high pressure. This high pressure makes small cracks in the shale rock. The sand stays in the cracks to keep them open. Oil and natural gas can then flow through these cracks to the well and come up to the surface. This step is called hydraulic fracturing. Using these two methods together, horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing makes it possible to get the oil and gas from the thick layers of shale rock. Texas has huge amounts of this shale rock under the ground. Millions of years ago, parts of Texas were under an ancient ocean, which helped form these rocks with trapped energy. This new method first showed great success in an area in North Texas known as the Barnett Shale. Soon, companies began using fracking in many other parts of the state where there was shale rock. One of the biggest impacts was in the Permian Basin in West Texas. This area had been producing less oil, but with fracking, it became a huge oil producer again. Production in the Permian Basin increased very quickly. In just 7 years, from 2007 to 2014, the amount of oil coming from the Permian Basin more than doubled. Fracking allowed Texas to access vast amounts of oil and gas that were previously unreachable. These shale areas are some of the largest energy reserves found anywhere in the world. Thanks to this new technology, Texas started producing massive amounts of oil and gas again. This period, beginning in the early 2010s, is often called the Second Texas Oil Boom. It changed the energy picture for Texas and helped it grow even more. 7. Texas helps the world with energy. This new way to get energy, called fracking, helped Texas very much. It meant Texas could find and produce a lot more oil and natural gas than before. Because of this big increase in energy, the United States started to get almost all the energy it needed from inside the country. This is called energy independence, a goal for the United States for many years. Texas became the biggest oil producer in the United States. It produces about 43% of the oil in the whole country. The amount is huge. If Texas was an independent country, it would be one of the biggest oil producers in the world, only behind a few like Russia and Saudi Arabia. Texas produces more oil than some large countries like Iraq. Much of this oil comes from areas like the Permian Basin in West Texas and the Eagle Ford area in South Texas. These places have huge amounts of oil locked in rock. Texas also produces a lot of natural gas. It produces about 1/4 of all the natural gas from the U.S. If it were its own country, Texas would also be one of the top natural gas producers in the world, very close to Iran. The Barnett Shale near Dallas-Fort Worth was one of the first areas where this new gas production became big. The oil and gas fields in Texas are easy to reach. They are often located near major cities and existing roads and railways. This makes it simple to build the needed structures and move the energy. Texas also has a long coast on the Gulf of Mexico. This allows oil and gas to be easily sent to other places around the world by large ships. This location is a big advantage compared to energy fields in some other parts of the world that are far inland or near difficult sea routes. Texas helps other countries with their energy needs, especially in times of need. For example, when the conflict in Ukraine started in 2022, countries in Europe needed new energy sources quickly. They used to buy a lot of oil and gas from Russia, but they wanted to stop. Texas sent a large amount of oil and natural gas across the Atlantic Ocean to Europe. These shipments helped Europe get the energy it needed and reduce its need for Russian energy sources. The United States became the biggest exporter of liquefied natural gas in the world during this time, greatly helped by the large production from Texas. Texas also has many oil refineries, more than any other U.S. state. These places change crude oil into useful products like gasoline for cars, diesel fuel for trucks, and jet fuel for planes. Texas has about 1/3 of all the refining capacity in the United States. This gives Texas a big role, not just in getting the oil out of the ground, but also in making it ready for use around the country and the world. Texas's large energy production and ability to refine oil and gas make it a very important state for energy globally. It helps the United States be strong in energy and also supports the energy needs of other parts of the world. 8. Texas, the energy state. Texas is known around the world for energy. When people think of Texas, they often think of oil and natural gas. Texas is a very big producer of these energy types. It makes a lot of oil and natural gas, more than any other state in the United States. This large amount of production makes Texas very important for energy needs, both in America and in other countries. But Texas is not only famous for traditional energy like oil and gas. It is also becoming a big leader in renewable energy. These are clean types of energy that come from nature, like wind and sun. Texas is #1 in America for wind power. It produces the most electricity from wind turbines. Strong winds blow across large areas of Texas, which is perfect for catching the wind's energy. If Texas were a country, it would be among the top countries in the world for wind energy production. Texas also has a lot of potential for solar power. The sun shines brightly over many parts of Texas, especially in the west. This means Texas can make a lot of electricity from sunlight using solar panels. Solar power is a growing energy source in the state. So, Texas uses many different kinds of energy. It has oil and gas, which are still very important. But it also has a lot of wind power, growing solar power, and some nuclear power. This mix of energy sources is very strong. Because Texas produces so much energy from all these different sources, it is a true global energy leader. It provides energy for many places. Texas can export oil and gas to other states and countries. This helps meet energy needs around the world. The energy industry is a major part of the Texas economy. It helps create jobs and makes the state wealthy. Texas's strong position in energy adds to its growing influence everywhere. The future of energy in Texas looks promising. The state has many natural resources for energy production, both traditional and renewable. Texas's role as a major energy provider is expected to continue for a long time. Texas is growing very fast in many ways. Its population is increasing quickly, more than in many other states. People are moving to Texas for jobs and other reasons we talked about before. Some people predict that Texas might have more people than California by the year 2040 or sometime in the 2040s. This would be a big change for the United States. Here is a question for you to think about. Do you think Texas will become the most populous state in the United States by the 2040s, and why? Or why not? We would like to hear your thoughts.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.